Hello and welcome to Sourav classes. Today we'll discuss the XAT 2020 paper. So the first question is a question about a sentence with some missing words, and we are given a combination of three words from which we have to choose the correct set. Now let's look at the sentence. It says a map is a useful metaphor. Map is a useful metaphor for our brain when talking about something. So this we don't know what it is, because at its most basic level, our brain, we don't know what this is. To be our atlas of sorts, a system of routes, and again there's a missing word, to navigate us towards just one destination, staying alive. Now we have to understand the word metaphor. Now the word metaphor means something which represents something else, or in other words, two things are implicitly compared, not directly. For example, the world is a stage. Now when I say the world is a stage, we are comparing implicitly the stage to the world. So a stage is representing the world. So that means I'm not saying that the world is like a stage. So then I would have had a direct comparison, but I'm saying the world is a stage. So implicitly I'm saying that a stage is representing the world. Or when I say America is a melting pot. So melting pot is representing America, or we are implicitly comparing a melting pot with America. So there is a comparison between two, implicit comparison between two, and something is being used to represent something else. So this is the meaning of the word metaphor. Now what is the metaphor here? A map is a useful metaphor. So a map is the metaphor for our brain when talking about what can be a metaphor to something to our brain. Now our brain and a map has one thing in common, that both of them gives us some kind of a perception, right? So when we look at a map, we understand the contour or the area of a place, right? So that is what map. So map gives us some kind of a perception. So we understand that, okay, this place looks like this. Similarly, in our brain, we have perception. So you see the word perception in option C, right? This is compared to the map. Now, if you notice the first word in all the other words, all the other options, designed, understanding, connections, comprehension, none of these can be compared to a map. Okay, or a map cannot represent any of these. A map cannot represent connections. A map cannot represent comprehension. A map cannot represent design. A map cannot represent understanding. A map can only represent perception, right? So that is the first link. And then it says, because of its most basic level, our brain dash to be our atlas of sorts. Now, so we can clearly make out that the brain has developed, evolved, progressed, changed, whatever. So the most appropriate word could be evolved, or developed, or changed, right? Progress is not a very good word to use here. Metamorphosed also is not a very good word. So it is either evolved or developed or changed. But we can see that design definitely doesn't come with a map. So this is definitely not there, and progressed is out, and changed probably is competing with option C, but connections definitely doesn't go with a map. And the last word, a system of routes dash to navigate. So a system of routes, when you draw a route map, a system of routes is designed, okay, to navigate a place. So the word designed comes in option 3 and option 5, but option 5 is ruled out because metamorphosis and comprehension doesn't go with the other two words. So therefore option 3 is the correct choice or the best choice. We go to the next question, which says, read the following sentences and answer the questions that follow. Now the question you can see is talking about which of the sentences are grammatically incorrect. So we have to find out which ones are incorrect. So let's have a look at the sentences given. First one says, I have good knowledge of German. Now note the word I have good. So we don't say I have good knowledge. We say I have a good knowledge. I have a good knowledge. So the word a is missing here. Okay. So this is the an incorrect sentence. So now we see one appears in C and D. So we can straight away reject the other ones. The second one says, except for Rajiv, everybody was there. This is correct. No issues there. The third one says, whole Delhi was celebrating Independence Day. We don't say whole Delhi. We say whole of Delhi. Whole of Delhi is celebrating Independence Day. Or whole of Calcutta is celebrating the win of India. So whole of, it is not whole, just whole. Whole doesn't hold. So whole of is missing. So 3 is incorrect. So we see that option C is the one that is having both 1 and 3. So this is the correct option. And we can check the others. Neither the dog nor is the cat responsible for this mess. This is correct. No issues there. He knows how to swim. How is missing? He knows how to swim. Not he knows how. He knows to swim. No. He knows how to swim. So number 5 is also incorrect. So therefore C is the correct option. And the last sentence, I look forward to seeing you, is perfectly correct. We move to the question number 3, which says again there are 3 missing words and we have to choose them from the given options. So let's see the sentence. It starts with a missing word, dash. Medicine has been operated by trial and error. In other words, dash. So trial and error means what? Trial and error means random. Trial and error means arbitrary. So trial and error is not methodical or logical. So now you see logically is gone. Analytically is gone. You don't analyze when you're doing trial and error. Statistically is not correct also. So randomly and arbitrarily are the 2 options that we are left with. So C and D are the 2 options that we are left with. And we see the first one now. So the this says, C says formally and D says historically. So now if I say formally, medicine was operated. Formally something was done. It used to happen like that. So has is a present tense. And this formally means before. It used to happen before. So the tense that would be associated with formally would be a past tense. So therefore, if I say formally, then medicine was being operated by trial and error would have been the correct sentence. So since this is a present tense, so therefore formally cannot fit in. So therefore historically is the correct word. Historically, medicine has been operated by trial and error. So which means historically means it has been done in the past and it is still being done right now. So historically it can come with a present tense. Historically, medicine has been operated by trial and error. That means it is still being done. In other words, arbitrarily is the second word that is fitting in. In other words, arbitrarily. We know by now that there can be entirely dash connections. So we see the 2 words in 3 and 4, accidental and fortuitous. Both mean the same thing. Fortuitous means something which is not planned, which happens by accident. So it is the same meaning as accidental. So therefore, we know by now that there can be an entirely fortuitous connection or accidental connection, between the symptoms and the treatment, and some medications succeed in medical trials for mere random reasons. So it is very clearly saying that there is an accidental connection between symptoms and treatment. Sometimes you give a medicine and it just works by luck. So option D is the correct choice because it has all the words which fits it. We come to question number 4. This is talking about which of the sentences are grammatically correct. Now let's see the sentences. So all of the sentences start with the word you. Then we see a couple of sentences saying you better had. So this comes in sentence 1 and 2, and in the rest it says had better. So this is one change that we notice. And then it says tell and told. So this is again one more change. So first two sentences say tell, the fourth one also says tell, and the third and the fifth one says told. And then we have heard everything as common again in all the sentences, and then we have or else you as common, and then we have will and would. So the choice is will, which appears in 1, 4 and 5th options, and would appears in 2 and 3, and then lose a friend is common again. So we can understand that we have to choose a sentence which has the right connect between the blue highlighted words. So when you say will, so first let us understand what is the difference between will and would. So when I say will, it means something that will happen in the future, and when I say would, it means that something that had happened in the past. If he was there, he would have done it. If she was alive, she would have played with me. So would is something which is associated with something in the past. It is a past tense of will. So definitely would you or else you will lose a friend is the correct one. So would is out. Would cannot be future. So because it's telling that you will lose a friend in future, it is implied. So the choices 2 and 3 are out. So we are left with A, D and E. So it is definitely will for sure. And now we see the other words. You better had. You better had is a wrong way of saying. You always say you had better done it. You had better gone for the event. Okay, so you better had done something is grammatically not correct. So option 1 is ruled out. Option 2 is already ruled out. So we are left with 4 and 5. Now the only difference between these two, notice that both of them has will, so this is correct. The only difference between these two, they both say had better, which is correct. You had better. The only difference is tell and told. So you had better told something means you had better done something in the past. Told is a past tense. So if it is a past tense, then will doesn't fit in. Then it would be would. So therefore, sentence E is not correct. So you had better tell her everything, or else you will lose a friend. So you tell her everything now, or you will lose a friend. So this is the correct way of saying this sentence. So option 4 is the right answer.